Welcome back to the Perfect Season Podcast. It's a super amazing podcast. It is everything, all things sports related, and absolutely nothing to do with milk and cookies. My name is Alex. We are joined today with Anthony and Frankie. All right, guys. So we've had a lot of interesting conversation over the past 2 days that we will not be addressing.
We've reached over 100.
That we will not be addressing.
We've reached over 100 subscribers.
Yeah, 100 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. It's been
101.
101. Can't complain.
New segment coming tomorrow.
Oh, the college football one. All right. Yes, the college football. Anyway, all right, gentlemen. Excluding the obvious, how was week 3? Or
You mean week 2?
Week 2. Sorry, I was writing down week 3 on the predictions.
It was flabbergasting.
Frankie.
It was about as riveting of a week 2 as you'll ever see.
The Lions won a game.
I will say eye-opening.
Yeah.
Eye-opening would probably be the best one.
Lions won a game. Jets won a game.
Lions, Jaguars, and Jets won in the same week for the first time since 2011.
That's
very
scary.
You can argue, look now or forever hold your peace. Jacksonville's in first place.
They are.
Let's talk
weak division.
Let's talk about that division.
And to Alex's point, they're the most functional team in that weak division.
That's Jacksonville's division to win.
If Jacksonville doesn't win the South, then that's an issue.
Well, you have a measly Tennessee team.
Tennessee's looked awful.
They're terrible.
Vrabel's on the hot seat.
Agreed.
Should already be fired.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's going to walk after this season. Sign elsewhere, probably.
I would
too.
I mean, you got blown out at home to Buffalo. Buffalo's making their case for the Super Bowl this year.
Yes, I'll agree with Buffalo. The game was in Buffalo, though.
Yeah. I already knew it was going to be a blowout, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Would you say I heard Malik Willis came into the game?
He did.
Would you say he is ready to be that day one starter, or does he need more time?
He's not ready. However, he's going to be thrown into a situation where he's going to need to start playing if Tannehill keeps performing the way that he is.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying Tannehill. I think it's Tannehill's time to hit the road. Do you think?
I think it's Tannehill's time to be benched.
Here's the thing. Why are you making this about what's wrong with Tennessee? Can we talk about how good Buffalo is?
Yes.
Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl.
They're winning the Super Bowl.
Buffalo right now is the Super
Unless
Bowl
Josh
favorites
Allen
by a
gets
long
hurt.
shot. Well, yeah, yes, agreed.
I mean, even
Josh Allen,
Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, they're basically the main.
Gabe Davis didn't even play last night, and Buffalo still beat Tennessee 41.
And Buffalo didn't even blitz at all, which was crazy.
No,
they didn't need to. The Tennessee line is horrendous.
Yeah. I mean, Stephon Diggs, guys, through the first 2 games of the season, 20 catches, 273 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Offensive player of the year. You can maybe book that.
It's insane.
I mean, whoever has them in fantasy, they're lucky.
Stephon Diggs got 40 points this week alone.
Yeah.
I have Josh Allen and Cooper Kupp.
That's a pretty good tandem there, too. I mean,
That's a great tandem.
Josh Allen is playing like the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Cooper Kupp is still the best receiver in the NFL. You just don't hear a lot about him because he got crushed on opening night, and they played a measly Falcons team that they almost blew a lead to.
They almost blew a 28-3 lead.
Boy, but that would have been some demons exercise.
Yeah. I was
NFL
rooting for Atlanta. I was deep down inside rooting for Atlanta.
I was hoping for an upset just because I wanted to see Atlanta pull a win out of nothing.
Is Atlanta the new Detroit?
No, I wouldn't go that far. Let's see. Okay, let's start off with the Thursday night game. Prime Video now has exclusive rights to Thursday night games.
I hate it.
Great broadcast.
It's a great broadcast. Very nice. I watched the replay of it. It was fantastic. I don't like that. What?
I was told it was horrible.
The broadcast.
Did you watch it, Anthony?
I was at Applebee's.
Well, then that explains it.
The broadcast and the video and how the game was presented was immaculate. I will say, I'm not happy that it's blocked behind Prime Video.
No, but back to the AFC South. You have Tennessee, who we thought was going to take the division, if not, And then you got Indianapolis,
But that's
who
the other
was
thing.
blanked by Jacksonville.
It was
Yes,
the-
Michael
it was-
Pittman Jr. was not playing.
Michael Pittman Jr. was not playing.
But
Alec
even if he
Pierce was not
was-
playing.
Even if Pittman Jr. wasn't playing, do you still see them being blanked?
I don't think they would have been shut out, but I don't think they still would have won.
Right.
No,
Jacksonville.
they
Jacksonville is one of those teams where they could maybe be a dark horse candidate.
Well, they're going to be playing meaningful football, Anthony, in November and December because of how bad their division is. If they can win 2 games against Houston, if they can split with Tennessee, they've already stolen one from Indianapolis. And then if they can find some wins in their non-conference schedule, I know they play the Giants, they play the Cowboys, and they're
Play the
gonna
Chargers.
Well, the Chargers might be. That's a step. I mean, that's a stretch.
I
But
mean, they
That's
played
a
them this
big-
week. They
if
played
they
them
can
this
find
week.
if they can find some wins, that's what they have this week. Yeah, if they can find some wins somewhere in this season, then yes.
I'll tell you this: Trevor Lawrence had himself a game.
Trevor Lawrence is finally stepping into that first overall pick that we were all expecting him to be. But this is my one thing that I'm still not overly sold on Jacksonville yet. I'm certainly feeling stronger about Jacksonville than what I was last year, and even at the beginning of the season. But you also have to realize Jacksonville is 1-1. They lost by a 1 possession in Washington, and Washington just went on to lose to Detroit at Detroit. And Jacksonville did beat the Colts at home, but historically over the past 5 years, the Colts have lost every single time that they were away at Jacksonville.
I'm going with
Jacksonville.
I'm going with history every time Jacksonville plays Indy.
Yeah.
Agreed. But here's the
And
other
then
thing that I want to mention. The Colts are looking horrible. Obviously, Matt Ryan as a quarterback.
Ryan's
at this
bad.
point, I think I would pick Carson Wentz over Matt Ryan to be the Colts quarterback.
I mean, yeah, but Carson Wentz did take a loss this week against Detroit.
Yeah, but even Carson Wentz was able to
Carson
throw
Wentz
a
had
couple
a better
touchdowns.
game. He had a better game.
Yeah,
Are we gonna say
Anthony? He had
Carson
4
Wentz?
touchdowns in the second half alone.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, are we gonna say Carson Wentz is that guy?
no, because
He's not that guy, but to Alex's point, he's better than Matt Ryan right now.
Oh, I will say Carson
and-
Wentz is better than Matt Ryan.
And here's the other thing why I'm not sold on Carson Wentz as well. Look at that Detroit game. What was the halftime score? 22-0 Lions. And then Carson Wentz kind of orchestrates a somewhat comeback to lose the game. What was the final score? 36-29?
36-27.
No, 27. Yeah.
But I think people are forgetting though. Last year he threw 27 for 7.
Yeah, but I would also like to
That's
realize.
true. And yeah, but Anthony, look at how he performed in the big games. He threw a pick 6 against Tennessee. He couldn't deliver against Vegas in week 17 when the Colts could have clinched a playoff berth. And then they went to Jacksonville and laid an absolute goose egg. And by the way, against New England, they won that game. Carson Wentz was 5 for 12 passing that game.
Yeah.
In
5.
the Super Bowl?
What?
In the
No,
Super Bowl?
against the Patriots, not in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Carson
the
Wentz didn't play in the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl. Carson Wentz did not play
I
in the
was
Super Bowl.
getting him and
The
Nick
only
Foles
time
mixed up.
Carson Wentz has been to a Super Bowl, but he's still on the sidelines for it.
Yeah.
I was getting him and Nick Foles mixed up.
Oh, well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
The
Okay.
Eagles though looked good.
Eagles look good, but it also
They look really good.
But Kirk Cousins is also 2-10 on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, my Philadelphia in the first half looked like a team that could go to the Super Bowl. Like Jalen Hurts he's
Jalen Hurts, he's a good quarterback. He's growing into that spot.
he's
he
electric.
shouldn't work as a quarterback, but yeah, he is. But the problem is this, guys. Philadelphia didn't score in the second half last night. What's going to happen when they get into a shootout? Can they, if they are in a shootout, now they did beat Detroit 38-35. A lot of the points, though, the Lions garbage time. Can Philadelphia win those high scoring games? Because it was 24-7 at the half. You're thinking they're going to score 41 points. They don't score anything. So now what's good for them is their schedule this year is remarkably easy. Why? They play the AFC South. All 4 teams suck. They play the NFC North. There's no really cut favorite in that division outside of Green Bay, and they get them at home this year. And then their other 2 teams they play are the Cardinals, who I can't really get a read on them yet. And
Cardinals are a hit or miss.
who's the other team that they play? The Saints. I can't get a read on them. And then they play the Steelers, who are abysmal offensively. So they're going to win a lot of games this year. The question is when they get to face Tampa Bay and the Rams and the playoffs, can they keep up?
Now,
it's
putting
interesting
you
that
into
say
this
that.
perspective, Me and now I'm thinking about it. I should have took Tampa's defense in fantasy.
Yeah.
They allowed in the past 2 games 13 points. 13. Tampa's defense, if we can continue to play like this throughout the year, they're going to be a problem.
You just have
Staying
to look at the
healthy
teams
wise
that they
also.
played.
But what other defense is lockdown defense like this so far?
I would put San Francisco's up there with them.
I mean, San Francisco did allow Seattle to score a touchdown.
What they do is only 7 points.
But
I mean,
still.
That's like saying, yeah, Buffalo allowed Tennessee to score a touchdown. And Buffalo's defense might be the best defense in football.
No way here, Frankie. I got this. Well, whoop-de-doo. The Bucs defense allowed Jameis Winston and the Saints to score 10 points.
Yeah, but Jameis also threw 4 picks and got sacked 6 times.
Okay. And Seattle's
Jameis
defense
is
held
Jameis.
Seattle to 7 points.
But still, I mean,
Okay,
we got the
come on.
Packers this week. Packers don't have any good receivers.
Alan Lazard has certainly made a decent impression.
They played
on me.
the Bears.
Alan Lazard made a
That's
decent
still a good Bears
impression.
defense, Anthony.
The Bears defense isn't the issue, it's their offense. The Bears defense is still perfectly fine.
Bears are
Can I
not.
say something real quick
Boy.
about this earlier today? You know who, like, I keep seeing that Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts, is on the off seat. Can we make a claim, or I'm going to make this claim, that his head coaching status was elevated because he had 2 really good coordinators, and Nick Sirianni, who was his offensive coordinator, and Matt Eberflus, who was his defensive coordinator, and now they're not there, and the Colts stink on both sides of the ball. Can we make that claim?
What, it's Frank, right?
Because I used to think Frank Reich was a really good head coach because he got to the Colts to the playoffs 2 times in 3 seasons. And then last year they almost got there and should have. And the consensus going into this year was they were going to win the division, but then they're 0-1 and they should be 0-2. Maybe Frank Reich was a good coach because he hired good coordinators and Nick Sirianni and Matt Eberflus. Is that logical?
You know, it's not an outrageous claim to say that. It's something I haven't thought about. It's definitely something worth observing and mentioning. If the Colts somehow manage to turn their season around and maybe go 500, because, you know, they're one of 2 teams that could genuinely go 500. I would contest that claim. However, if they go under 500, if they get 7 or less wins, you know what? I would say completely.
Who did the Colts got this week?
Colts
Kansas
play
City.
Kansas City.
That's an automatic out. Automatic.
I don't know.
Kansas.
They've given Kansas
I
City
mean,
some
Kansas
pressure.
City, yeah, they did play. They played okay against the Chargers.
They played okay.
27-24.
What game were you watching, Antonio?
What do you mean, what game was I watching? It was 27-24.
Did you see some of the throws Patrick Mahomes made in that game?
Like I said, I didn't have Prime. I saw the highlights.
Anthony, just get an Amazon account and you can have.
I do have an Amazon account. I was at Applebee's.
Well, okay, then I can't. Well,
because I didn't know Amazon bought out the NFL and they had Prime, so you know.
Oh God! And you're the co-host of an NFL podcast. You know what? I knew all the week 2 matchups before Thursday Night Football even kicked off, before the pregame show even started, let alone even the game itself, Antonio Fiorentina. So,
right.
For me, it's here's the thing about the Chiefs and the Chargers game. I think both teams come away feeling really good about themselves. But
Justin Herbert also got hurt.
Yeah. Major credit for him for toughing that one out, because that looked horrible. But my thing with the that game is the Chargers can walk away thinking that we are still just as good as Kansas City. Herbert just made 1 bad play, and that was that pick 6. But if you're Kansas City, this team just finds ways to win games. That was a game the Chargers outplayed them, and it was 1 pick 6 that completely turned the whole game into their favor, and they went on to win. Patrick Mahomes didn't have an otherworldly game, but he didn't need to. He made throws when he had to. The touchdown to Jerick McKinnon, the touchdown to, what's that guy's name that came in on that play as a substitution and they still went to him? What's his name? Noah Watson, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, Noah Watson. And by the way, the guy who had the pick 6 was working at a Wendy's 3 years ago.
Yeah, he was the 7th round pick, and if you looked at it, the Chargers completely denounced him and said that he wasn't worthy of looking at film. Look what happened. You got a pick 6 that sealed the game. Just goes to show to never underestimate your opponent, no matter how bad they could be.
Right. I mean, look at the Browns blowing it. What? How many point lead?
13 point.
Are we gonna make a hot? Okay,
lose.
here's a take. What team that missed the playoffs last year? That was one of these bad teams, Jets, Giants, Lions, Jags, or whatever. Which team makes the playoffs or makes a case saying they're above 500 team?
I would definitely say Jacksonville is most likely because they do have 6 games against the divisional opponents that are weak.
I would say Jacksonville, Detroit, Giants, Jets.
Frankie,
Yeah, 'cause
Detroit.
Yeah,
you okay?
and like the Giants. I mean,
The
they've
Giants are
won
2-0.
They're 2-0, but like, how seriously are you really taking them?
None. I'm really not considering the Giants to be anything more than a 500 team at best.
Who do they got this week?
They've got Dallas on Monday night, which is going to be a really good game.
That's going to be interesting because Cooper Rush did have a good game. Sorry, Frankie.
I'm
Sorry to
well
hurt your
aware.
feelings.
Oh, my feelings aren't hurt. The Bengals played like absolute crap.
And,
But-
well, here's the thing about the Giants that I think is very interesting. You also have to look back at their week 1 opponent was at the time we thought would be an upset because it was Tennessee.
Yeah, it's
With how they
but
played
Tennessee
with how they played
through the
yesterday.
through the first 2 games, Tennessee is not that good.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. Over the past, if you would have told me 2 weeks ago the Giants are going to be 2-0, I'd say that you are on something really strong.
Smoking crack.
Yeah. But to think that the Giants were able to beat Tennessee right now, the Giants were in favor to win that game after what Tennessee put up yesterday. And then they play at home against Carolina, who Carolina was a hit or a miss because they did play Cleveland. And then the Giants were able to beat Carolina by 3 points? Was it 19-16 was the final score?
Yeah.
Which is not the best score in the world. I get a win is a win no matter what.
If
But
you're a Giants fan, you're happy right now.
if you're a Giants fan, you're happy. But I'd have to say I think it's ignorant optimistic, ignorant optimism, because you're 2-0 against 2 teams that are below mediocre right now, and you play against a Dallas team with a backup quarterback. That
Now, here's a case. Did Cooper Rush have himself a good game and his next game is going to be really bad? Or is Cooper Rush going to have really good games for the rest of till Dak's out?
I mean,
Or
the
till
last 2
Dak's
times
back.
the last 2 times he started, he's beaten the Vikings on the road in Minnesota and then the reigning AFC champion. So, there is actually some tangible evidence that he can go out and beat the Cowboys to victory. Now, I mean, this is Monday Night Football on the road against the Giants team that, Alex, you say that it's ignorant optimism. I'll say this: when you're a fan of a team that sucked for the previous 5 years and you finally have a team that is at least winning games early and keeping you interested going into October, that's a good feeling to have if you're a New York Giants fan.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic momentum, and it's great for morale and team spirit. I completely understand that, but it's not like they went on the road and beat the Bucks, the Rams, the Chiefs, the Chargers,
The Niners.
the Niners. Well, yeah.
Okay.
But the same thing with the Eagles, Alex. The Giants have a very easy schedule this year.
Agreed. Especially the
Like,
Giants.
they'll get-
The Giants are better than I anticipated them to be. I will admit that. Yes.
Like
Just
they
like
get
Detroit.
Seattle, they get Seattle, they get Detroit, they get the Ravens, which they could beat.
Okay. Here's something. Now that Trey Lance is out for the year, I know, sad. Jimmy G, he's that guy. They should have. 49ers are happy they never traded him away. Sign him to that 1-year deal. He's that guy now.
49ers should be happy that they're able to keep a guy that was able to win them games, but I would not go as far to say that they would do anything like what they
But
did
you're not
last
going to
season.
say Jimmy G's going to go playoffs with them.
No, I think the San Francisco 49ers playoff push that they had last year was very unique because a lot of teams were not able to understand what Deebo Samuel could do. And now that teams know what he can do, they're able to effectively shut him out.
That's like also saying teams are figuring out what Derrick Henry can do.
Well, I mean, Derrick Henry's just able to truck people. If you're able to just hit him in the right spot, he's going down.
So could Josh Allen.
Exactly. I mean, look what happened to Lamar. Remember the season that he won MVP?
Yeah.
Nobody knew how to deal with him.
And now everyone knows how to shut him down because he's too predictable.
But Lamar is Lamar's passing game has been really good through the first 2
Lamar-
years.
Yeah, but Lamar
Lamar
can also still run the ball well.
Well, trust me, I know he can run the ball well. He ran a 75-yard touchdown on the Dolphins defense right up the middle.
And then he choked that lead away.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Yeah, he did.
Well, here's
Y'all were
the thing.
blowing my phone.
I
I
said
was at
this-
work. And y'all were blowing my phone up saying, "Oh, Lamar's this guy. He's that guy. He knows how to freaking. He's a great quarterback." I'm like,
Lamar,
I'm not
I think you mean Tua the GOAT.
Tua.
Yeah, that's what he
Okay,
said.
hear me
He
out.
never
This
said
game-
Lamar is that guy. Tua's performance on Sunday was incredible. I'm gonna
Okay.
give you Alex, and
This-
the Dolphins. Like I second guessed myself when I had them at 11-6 and making the playoffs as that 7th seed. You know what? I'm now buying into them.
You're buying into the Dolphins?
I'm not gonna lie to
Yes.
you. I'm still on that adrenaline euphoric high after the Dolphins win on Sunday.
Okay. Remember when
You have what I wish I had.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Just one more
But
stat line that I
Alex-
think is interesting. Tua leads the league in passing yards and is tied for second in passing touchdowns.
That's pretty good.
Okay, Anthony, I want to see this coming from the guy from the quarterback that literally put up how many points? That got carried by his defense against the Saints.
You know what? At least one of my teams won. At least one of my teams
Yeah,
won.
you know what? You're
Yeah,
right.
your
Speaking
other
of one of your
team-
team,
Your other
Don't
team was popping,
even.
your other team was popping champagne too early.
literally.
And one of their fans slapped Kyler Murray in the face. And now he's getting accused of assault.
Okay, yeah, that's not good, and that's a
Yeah,
terrible.
That's
typical
battery.
Raiders.
That's battery. And you know who also committed battery?
Don't say my
Exactly.
guy. He did not. He did
All right,
not.
Continuing.
He did not.
Continuing.
That will be a separate episode. No, but I remember.
one that I won't be a part of.
Exactly.
No, you're gonna be a part of it.
Well,
No, you already know.
Regardless,
It's plain and simple.
regardless of the future episode where there might be some mean words being said.
I remember this.
This is no. This is
No, it's
something-
not about what happened in that game.
I
It's about
understand.
Tua.
I understand.
It's about Tua.
I
We
was
have
not
10
even going
minutes.
there.
I'm saying Tua has proved the haters wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He is that guy of a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when everyone was saying after his second year, he lost one game. And everyone's saying Tua's a bust, cut him, bench him, trade him away. Tua's that guy. He proved the haters wrong. And also, I remember you, Alex, you said you didn't think Justin Herbert was going to be a good quarterback.
Okay, that
Now
was
look what he's
draft
done.
night before he was able to do what he did.
But still,
Okay.
I'm saying Tua's that guy.
One more stat line because I gotta plug it.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins in the last 11 games has been 10-1. End of story. Let's continue. We got to get through a lot more games. Raiders.
I don't even know.
This is
Where-
the one thing that we talked about last year that's concerning me the most about the Raiders. The Raiders have always been good in the early season. Remember last season? What was the Raiders' record?
Yeah.
5-0.
5-2.
5-2. The
5-2.
Raiders were 5-2 in the first 7, potentially 8 weeks, depending
Well,
on where the bye week
maybe-
was.
They got Tennessee this week.
That's a game that you need to win if you want to get
We
back on
need to
track.
beat Tennessee.
That's not necessarily an easy win, though, Anthony.
It's
Yeah,
at
I
it's
know
in
that.
Nissan Stadium in Nashville.
Yeah, and Tennessee also did lose to the Giants in Nashville. So
Agreed, but that's the thing. Anthony,
it's
is
if
this-
the
this-
Raiders show up, that's the thing.
Yes, this could be a potential trap game for the Raiders because
Yeah.
Tennessee in the past 2 weeks has put up 20 points.
Here's the thing about the Raiders, though. They used to always start the season hot. They were 5-2. They go on these win streaks, and then they lose a bunch of games.
Mhm.
Now maybe they lose a bunch of games to start, and then you start winning, getting things together. Remember, it's Josh McDaniels' head coaching first year with the Raiders. And yeah, the Raiders went undefeated in the preseason. That's a preseason whoop-de-doo. I expect a much better game from the Raiders this week.
Here's my thing about the Raiders that I should be expecting out of them. Last season, they went 5-2 to start out the season, which is a phenomenal start. At one point, they were first in the AFC. They're starting out 0-2, but you also have to realize something. It's not like they have the exact same team that they did last year. They have a new offensive weapon, top 3 wide receiver, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And yeah, Devontae Adams has been good, but
he hasn't been that person.
Did you see his stat line on Saturday or Sunday?
I saw the stat line.
2 catches, 12 yards.
Against the Cardinals. The Cardinals defense that allowed 44 points against Kansas City the week before.
I mean, that is also Kansas City.
I understand it's also Kansas City, but it's also something to.
The thing is, though,
you could argue the Raiders have a Devontae Adams is still learning. Receiving core than Kansas City.
Oh,
Devontae Adams is still learning the Raiders playbook. He didn't even play one snap in the preseason.
Well, that's also to keep him healthy.
That's no excuse because you look at what he did in week 1 when he had 10 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Still, all I'm trying to say.
No, it all comes down to the play calling. And Josh McDaniels is now 0-2 in his second tenure as a head coach in this league.
Okay, so if, let's say the Raiders are a 500 team this year, let's just say, do you give McDaniels the boot or put him on the hot seat?
No, I'm not going to give him the boot, but I give him another year and say you better make the playoffs.
This is what I'm trying to say. Everyone judges way too quick. They judge after one game. Look at you throwing into some preview of tomorrow for college football. Look at USF. Everyone wanted Jeff Scott gone after they lost to BYU and struggled against Howard. You almost beat Florida. Florida is not a good team.
We're getting there.
They're not a good team.
They're not beating Cincinnati.
I'm saying Florida.
All right. Anyway,
FSU.
Excuse me.
Florida, UF, the Gators. They're going to lose to FSU in football.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you said FSU was going to lose to USF, and
FSU is going to beat Florida in a landslide.
All right. So anyway, back to the league. We got to get through some of these other games. Talk about that one. Green Bay, we already talked about that one. For the sake of Frankie and Cincinnati, we'll skip that game.
Feels like
that was pathetic.
Well, I also want to say this one thing, and it's an important note. I will say, not to just kind of stick the knife in and twist it a little bit, but the Cincinnati Bengals let 51 sacks in last year in the entire season. So far, they've allowed 13, and mind you, they improved their offensive line. The Bengals are on pace to allow 111 sacks on the season, more than double what they allowed last year.
What I'm saying is, Alex, and you're right, the Bengals spent a bunch of money on offensive line that hasn't looked great at all. But here's the thing. Buffalo has 4 returning starters on their offensive line. The Bengals have 4 new starters on their offensive line. So when you wonder why the Bengals aren't doing what the Bills are doing, there's your answer.
I mean, that's fair. You know what? It's a new offensive line. They don't have the level of chemistry that, say, any other offensive line may have. That's completely fair.
Yeah, they just haven't done much offensively, and they haven't really done much defensively. Like, they've done a great job of holding their opponents after the first 17 minutes of a game, but they only have 2 sacks through 2 games and only 1 turnover. Last year, this defense, like Trey Hendrickson could change the game with a sack, and a linebacker could change the game with an interception, or Von Bell could change the game. Jesse Bates, Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, whatever. They haven't had that yet this year.
It's fair.
Who do the Bengals got this week?
The Jets.
Oh, Lord have mercy. This is a trap game for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets.
It can be.
Jets are
it can be,
1-1.
Because now our game against the Dolphins is a big game.
That's a big Thursday night game in 2 weeks.
Is that next week?
That's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
week
I'll
4.
be at that game.
Yeah. I will be watching that on TV.
Now, Frankie, I know it's far, far away. What about when the Bengals come to Tampa?
Right now, we would Joe Burrow might get sacked 10 times that game.
I would have to agree with that.
Out in a landslide.
Shaq Barrett's
a beast.
Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea and Joe Tryon, whatever.
Joe Tryon Shoenka?
Yeah, exactly. Those guys are going to feast on Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, and once we get Akeem Hicks back,
And by the way, we can't throw the ball down. We struggle against the so-called Tampa 2. Well, look at Tampa Bay's secondary and what you're going to be going up against. You're going to be going up against Mike Edwards, Jamel Dean,
Carlton Davis. Now,
yeah,
I can argue. Jamel Dean's a top 10 corner.
No.
Jamel
Can I make
Dean's
a point real quick? Can I make a point real quick?
He's
Speaking of defense,
underrated.
I said this last week. I picked Minnesota to beat Philadelphia because I couldn't trust their defense. Boy, am I eating my humble pie today. Because
Frankie, we
Avonte
all
Maddox-
picked Minnesota.
Darius Slay had a renaissance game last night, and then Avonte Maddox, underrated corner in the league. Philadelphia's defense absolutely made Kirk Cousins look average last night.
Kirk Cousins is the most average quarterback in the league. He is 60 for 60 for 2.
Did you see his interview after week 1? How everyone said he looked like a typical dad. Typical dad from a Sunday picking your son up from school.
The guy's like
giving a post-game
33.
interview.
That man is a dad. He's like 33.
Tom Brady's a dad. He's
probably
45.
drives a minivan too.
He probably drives the minivan and attends.
No, he probably
drives
drives his Chevy Tahoe.
Maybe.
All right, so
Seems like an SUV kind of guy.
We got about 60 seconds.
yeah, I think that'll be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back with our predictions episode immediately right after this one. Other than that, incredible week 2, lots of interesting.
Who's in
games.
first?
We'll go over that in the prediction video. Impatient. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, leave a subscription. We're just past 100. We would love to maybe hit 150 by the end of the season, maybe 200, but that is a little bit ambitious. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. And most dynamic wide receiver tandem in the league, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. And we'll see you guys later.